If you're interested in starting compost but you don't quite know what you can compost, this is going to be an overview of that. So you probably know that you can compost fruit peels like apple cores, bananas, skins of grapes, stuff like that, some fruit scraps. So this is bread. It does have mayo on it, and if you have critters like raccoons or rats, then you probably don't want to use that unless you're using very small quantities. So those are the very common ones, are food scraps and veggie scraps. You can also incorporate eggshells. These are great for tomatoes or pumpkin squash. All of them need a lot of calcium, and if you wait until they dry out and then crumble them, those are going to be really good for those specific plants. You can also use loose leaf tea, which is what this is. So this is how I make the loose leaf tea. Very cheap, and you can do it yourself. I use a lot of loose leaf tea because some of the tea bags have harmful chemicals in them that I'm trying to stay away from. You can also compost pet fur. So if you have dogs, cats, whatever, bird feathers, all of those can be composted. You can also compost house plants like this. So these are very good for your compost. If you have expired food like this, a lot of it can be composted. These got pushed back into the closet and they are old and nobody wants to eat them. These were apricots. So that's compostable. If you have wooden chopsticks, those can be. Also hair. If you don't have dyed hair and you have your natural hair color, that is not going to have the chemicals in it, so you can push that in the compost. You can compost nail clippings. You're probably saying, I'm never going to remember to go take nail clippings out to the compost. And you're right, you probably won't. But if you go ahead and clip them outside, then you don't have to worry about that. And you get lots of vitamin D. I'm out here clipping my nails and I'm seeing beautiful flowers and wildlife. I'm getting that lovely vitamin D. Oh no, I just clipped my nail and one went shooting off. What am I going to do? I'm going to do nothing. This is great. So another thing that I use to compost is I've transitioned into using silk floss. This is 100% compostable. If you have regular dental floss, it's not going to be compostable, but this is actual from silkworms. You can also compost the juice from these vegetables. So this one you're probably not going to want to because they have sodium in them, and that's going to leach into the juice. Whereas if you get no salt added, then there is no sodium. So a lot of plants are sensitive to salt, so you wouldn't really want to put one with a lot of salt in there. This one doesn't, and it's going to have all those nutrients that get cooked out when this is cooked. What you could think about is using the water you use for boiled eggs. So the heat releases some of that calcium, and then if you use eggshells, they're a little bit slower to break down, whereas the heat has already done that breaking down, and so now that calcium is readily available for your plants. Some things you might not want to compost. So in a regular compost bin, the onion shells and the orange peels, they should be fine as long as you don't put big quantities in there. But if you're doing worm farming, these ones can hurt your worms. They need very small quantities, if at all. And then also a tea bag. You probably don't want to compost the tea bags because a lot of them are actually made of plastic, like nylon, and they aren't going to break down in your soil. So if they are actual paper, you could compost them, but you might not want to because they also contain some chemicals that are not good for your plants. So this is all the stuff that you might want to compost and or you might not want to compost. If you guys enjoyed this video about composting, maybe think about going ahead and liking and subscribing, and I will make some more content like this. Okay, enjoy your garden, guys.